Ole Miss fans need a hotel for the game weekend? Many OTAs keep all the commissions, but at Fan Plans, you still get your loyalty points, receive direct confirmation from the hotel, and you support Rebel Grove. Visit fanplans.com/Rebel Grove today.
Welcome into another edition of the Davison Igbinosun Show, presented by the College Corner. I'm Neil McCready. That is Ole Miss cornerback Davison Igbinosun. Ole Miss loses to Alabama 30-24 in raucous, sold-out Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. The Rebels fall to 8-2. They now have 2 games in 5 days, starting on Saturday at Arkansas. They'll play the Razorbacks at 6:30. From Reynolds Razorback Stadium there in Fayetteville. That game can be seen on the SEC network. And then, of course, 5 days later, Ole Miss will entertain Mississippi State in the annual Egg Bowl game in Oxford. That game also 6:30 on ESPN. So we won't have a show next Sunday because Davison will be in the middle of practice probably, since next Sunday will basically be a Tuesday. But we will we'll be back, and the weekend after that, we'll wrap up the regular season, maybe have a special guest. We'll tease that in a little bit here on the show. Before we do that, let me tell you that we're brought to you each and every week by the College Corner. The College Corner is your one-stop Rebel shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area in Ridgeland. It's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's okay. Go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram, whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family. The College Corner has you covered for game day. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Davison, how are you?
I'm good, Neil. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. I guess let's talk about the game a little bit. You guys certainly had opportunities. I thought defensively you guys played pretty well, certainly in spots. Bryce Young did what Bryce Young does. He made a couple of big-time third down plays that led to touchdowns that I'm not sure that normal quarterbacks make those plays. He's a special player. You guys give the ball back to the offense with the chance, and Quinshawn makes a couple of big plays. You get down to the 14, but you stall out from there and lose. A day later, what sort of sticks out in your mind? How difficult is it to sort of wrap your head around the missed opportunity?
We lost that game. I would say that, like, Alabama didn't win. If you understand that, like, we definitely had chances to pull through, and we didn't.
When you say you lost it, give me some of the things that stick out in your mind as things that were chances that you didn't capitalize on.
Allowing them to score right before the half, stuff like that. Like,
how difficult was Bryce Young? You guys controlled him a lot. I mean, he didn't just light you up. He's lit other teams up, much more than he did you guys. He just had a couple of those third down plays where he extended plays with his feet. Right. He's just, you talked about it a week ago, Davison. He's just so poised, I think is the word that you used. And I thought about that word yesterday a couple times because he was indeed so poised. He just does not get rattled.
Right.
And frankly, I think it's what saved them because I thought the rest of their team kind of did get rattled a little bit.
Right.
He didn't. Do you sort of agree with that he was the difference, at least for them?
Yeah, definitely. Like, he didn't panic at all. Like, he just played really good.
So I noticed, obviously, you didn't get the start this Saturday. Miles Battle started in place of you. I was telling you before we got started, it's the part of college football, especially at this level, that I'm not sure that the fans completely understand. I know that media, we probably don't even pay as much attention to it as we should. The competition is constant, right? I mean, it is not just the 12 Saturdays a year or the bowl game or whatever. It's not even just fall camp. It's not even just spring. It's every week, the grind of it. I'm sure it was disappointing not to start, not to play as much. How did you sort of handle that over the week and on Saturday? I noticed you were right there at all times, kind of ready to go in when
right. I really like you can you can't allow it to have an impact on your game or your mindset. So I was just like, if I got a chance, I was going to be ready to go.
How tough is that though? I mean, you've been going all year. Is it in your opinion, is it just a coach's decision that was made, or do you kind of feel like maybe, you've hit the freshman wall a little bit that people talk about, or that kind of, people talk about that. It's a real thing when you hear everyone talk about, hey man, there's a freshman wall a little bit that you see it in every sport. You see it in basketball a lot. You'll see freshmen in basketball starting at the middle of February. You can tell they're having to push through it a little bit. It's a different thing. You've talked about this throughout the course of the year of this show about this is different than anything you ever experienced in high school. Obviously, there's no way to prepare you for going from being a high school player in Union, New Jersey, to suddenly being on an SEC grind week in and week out.
Right. I would say that it came down to a coach's decision, but like it's out of my control. So I just can control the things that I can control.
Moving forward, you guys are you're not going to Atlanta. You're not going to play for the SEC championship. It's going to be LSU versus Georgia. As that became when you guys realized that was happening yesterday, how difficult was that? How difficult was that locker room? Obviously, a guy like you is going to have other chances. There are guys on your team that was their last chance. How difficult was it for people to absorb that part of the dream's gone?
It was pretty tough. Like guys were crying and all that, but like the whole thing that got preached throughout the entire offseason was going to the SEC championship. So like, of course, it's going to be tough for us to swallow.
Yet you have to move on. You guys go to Fayetteville on Saturday night. They're having a difficult season. Obviously, they're 5-5. They played LSU, lost 13-10 Saturday without KJ Jefferson. Do you guys go into this week sort of having to prepare for Arkansas with him and Arkansas without him? And are they very different with or without him?
If I'm being completely honest, I haven't seen them at all yet. But like, I mean, like KJ Jefferson is pretty good as well. So like, they're definitely not going to be at full strength without him.
With a quarterback like him, 6'3", like 250 is what they list him at. He looks bigger than that. I mean, he's athletic. He can run. That's kind of what they do, though. They're a ground team. They don't throw it a whole lot. When it's a physical team like that in the cold and you sort of know they're coming at you, they're desperate. What's the key to preventing, them making that a fourth quarter game and having a chance against you?
You got to tackle well. I think that's what it comes down to because they're going to like run in between the tackles. We just have to tackle well.
Getting on the road after a game like that, is it the Ole Miss fans I thought really showed up on Saturday. I mean, they were loud. It was full. They were there early. They were there all the way. Now you got to go someplace and kind of create your own energy a little bit. Arkansas fans are probably not super pumped about where their season is. It is senior day, so they might get a crowd or whatnot. But it's going to be a different energy level. Do you go back to maybe some of the experiences earlier in the year where you had to sort of generate your own?
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's no freebies in this conference. So if you want to go on the road and win, you have to create your own energy.
How difficult will it be, if at all, to find motivation now? I mean, you guys talked about Atlanta. That's not there. There's
right.
You can still get to 10 wins. You can still do a lot of things, but you can't get there. Does that make it more difficult to get up for a game?
You can't allow it to affect you at all. Like, you still have to go out on Saturday and play your absolute best.
We talked about this a little bit last week. Your family's coming to town. I guess, will they be in Fayetteville, or are they just coming to Oxford in time for Thanksgiving?
For the Egg Bowl, they're coming. Gotcha.
So 2 games in 5 days starting Saturday. You guys play a physical game at night in Arkansas. You won't get back till, 3, 4 in the morning probably. Then you have to turn around and play again on Thursday night. How much of a challenge is that going to be to play quick turnaround like that?
It's going to be tough. Like 2 SEC games in 5 days is going to be very tough on our bodies. And then we also have to game plan for two teams in 5 days. So that's also going to be tough.
What would be the harder part, the mental part or the physical part?
I think the physical part, like Arkansas is going to try to pound the football, and then in 5 days we're going to have to turn around and play State, who's going to throw every play. So like it's going to be tough on our bodies.
On a typical game when you play on Saturday, how long is it into the next week before you start feeling fresh again?
Thursday, because Tuesday is hard, and then Wednesday is hard as well. So I want to say around Thursday you start getting your legs back.
So your family's coming in. We talked about this last week. You're gonna play the game on Thursday night. You're gonna do Thanksgiving with your family on. I guess you guys will do it on Friday, or Saturday. Are they home? They in Oxford for the whole weekend?
Yes, they are.
Oh, good. All right. Well, we teased this a little bit. We won't have a show next week because obviously Sunday will be Tuesday next week. As crazy as that's going to feel and look. By the way, are you a fan of the Thanksgiving game, college game on a Thursday night, or would you rather this game be played on Saturday? And I'll take the pressure off of you by saying this game should be played on a Saturday. It belongs on a Saturday, not on a Thursday. But that's just my opinion. What's yours?
I think that Thanksgiving is a day for families, so I feel like the game should be played on a Saturday.
We're on the same. We're simpatico, my man. All right, so I told you this. Maybe we'll get your mother, Precious, on the show to wrap up the regular season. I'm sure she is immensely proud of you. Moving off to college, completely different part of the country. You've played so well your freshman year. I think you're a lock for freshman All SEC. You've become your star of your own show. I mean, your life's changed a lot in 1 year. I'm sure they're immensely proud of you.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, so we'll get her on. Hopefully, I've asked Davison to lobby her and to kind of work on her a little bit, kind of persuade her. So hopefully, we'll get her on the show sometime in the weekend following the Egg Bowl. We'll wrap up the regular season. We'll talk a little bit about maybe what bowl possibilities are there for the Rebels. Ole Miss obviously is going bowling. It's just a matter of where and when and against who. So we'll come back in 2 weeks or so and bring you one final regular season edition of the Davison Igbinosun show. And then, of course, we will wrap up after the bowl game with a season finale show where we talk about the whole year and Davison's experiences and kind of what comes next. But again, we've been brought to you each and every week throughout this regular season by the College Corner, your one-stop Rebel shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. There's one in Flowood, there's one in Ridgeland. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com. Great place to get all your shopping done. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford, home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day with the largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi. Davison, anything else before we close?
No, that's all.
All right, good. Well, listen, best of luck to you this week in Fayetteville and also in the Egg Bowl. And we'll look forward to visiting with you and hopefully with your mom in a couple of weeks.
All right.
All right. For Davison Igbinosun, I'm Neil McCready. You guys have a great week. Take care.